Evening, Tracy. Mick, how you doing with that? Jenny, Carolina, Peter, Anne, Leslie, hey up Johnny Boy, Georgina Ann, Jenny Louise, Tommy Hunt, Dave, Claire, Nashi, Sylvia, AJ, Sean, Jane, Roy, Debbie Ross, Mick, Betty, Andy Hughes, Helen. Let's wait for a couple more and we'll start. Right. Right, good evening guys. Just while I'm waiting for Nath, I'm going to give you my take on what's happening with this election. My opinion, people may have the same opinion, but my opinion is we're all being stitched up good and proper. And this is a second referendum guised as a general election. But one, we cannot win. Because I'll tell you why. If Nigel Farage was for the people, like he says he is, he wouldn't have pissed off in 2016. He'd have stayed and he'd have seen the job through. We all know none of them treasonous scumbags in the Parliament want us to leave the EU. So Boris now, because he couldn't get his shit deal through, which tied us to the EU, he's got to save the Tory party. He's got to save them because them dive bombing fast. So what he did is called a general election. And Tory Nigel, who we all know is a Tory at heart, he's come out of the shadows with the Brexit party and he's come along now to do the Tories a favour. That's what he's doing. Because now he's going to split the vote between the Tories and the Brexit party, which will then put Corbyn in power. None of us want Corbyn in power. Trust me, we don't. I don't know what to tell you how to go about sorting it out by voting wise, because people ain't going to listen. People are not going to listen to what we say. The ideal thing is not to vote at all. And put a no vote confidence in the Parliament and get it shut down. No confidence vote from the people. But that's never going to happen because people won't do that. They're paranoid. So now we're stuck between a rock and a hard place with the way we're going to have to vote. Because if you do vote the way we're going to vote, one thing for certain, Labour's going to get in. Because not good old Nigel has come back and he's going to split the vote. So you've got two choices. We can either all vote Conservatives and make them do the job, or we can all vote Brexit party. We've got to sort this out before it happens. Because the Brexit party, make Nigel do his job what he should have done 3 years ago, nearly 4 now. And let him sort out what he should have done back in 2016. But by splitting the vote, by being angry and splitting the vote, it's not going to, we're just going to be finished as a nation, because God knows the damage that guy's going to do in the 5 years once he gets in. God knows how much damage he's going to do. And don't forget the Tories, they're going to blame the electorate, because when we do what we're going to do and we split the vote, it's saved the party. He's going to come out all guns blazing and say, well, If you hadn't split the vote, if you'd have believed in the Conservative Party and voted for us, we would have delivered Brexit. And he's going to put the blame all on us. And we've all fell for it. It's a second referendum, guys. But one that's been rigged, so we can't win it. Anybody with any common sense can see what's going on here. The only other thing we can do is this. All get into lawful rebellion. Let's get organised and let's get down there in our millions and put a stop to this injustice before it happens on the 12th of December. That's the only way we can do this. It's the only way, guys, because it's a rigged vote. A rigged voting system. They've done it deliberately. So everybody's going to split the vote. And it's impossible to win. Knife lay down, brother. Really just said.
Cheers, Joe, mate. Yeah, I was listening.
What do you think, mate? Do you think the same?
I personally think if a referendum is, I would say, is a bit more important than any general election. If they're going to ignore a referendum, what's the point of having a general election? Me personally, I don't see the point. I don't really see the logic of having a general election right now. I really don't. If anything, it's to sidestep the referendum, if anything, because it's a referendum by any other name, really.
But do you think this is a general, a second referendum under the guise of a general election, but it's fixed because with the Brexit Party coming in, it's going to split the votes, knowing full well Labour's going to get it. That's how I see it.
No, I think you're bang on. I think basically what's happened is we've got the parties that have pretty much said, right, this is going to happen if you vote for us. If we vote for them now, that's going to happen. So whether we want out of the EU or not, if we vote for any of these parties, we're in the EU. And that's what people don't understand. You're actually going to basically consent before the fact when you vote. So you're going to say, well, I'm going to vote for you and whatever you do in the next 4 years.
Like 4 to 5 more years, guys.
Yep.
And look at the damage he's going to do in that time.
Yep, look how many.
And the legislation and the acts that are going to come out to stop, put your freedoms in even worse position than you are now. This is your final wake-up call. We've got this bang on. Trust
me personally, I don't think the election should happen. I think we're looking at now, Parliament needs to be stopped. It needs to be stopped.
Basically, we're going to have to get this paperwork sorted. We're going to have to get this paperwork sorted out, Nathan, and we're going to have to get as many people behind us on the day when we take it in. And we've got to get down there, and we now millions, because this is it.
We have to put it back in the hands of the Queen, make her go by a royal prerogative again. She's constitutionally bound. It does actually, Jeremy. Thank you. But this is the thing. This is where we are. If we vote, we're consenting to it. If we vote, we're saying yes.
Yes,
if we don't vote, then hopefully less than 50% of people vote, and then it's null and void. But like I said, it's going to be the same this time. So if you're going to ignore a referendum, you can ignore a general election. And I'm not being funny. If you take part in this general election, you are overturning the referendum, because what you are voting for goes against what the referendum
it's a second
vote
referendum.
Was. Exactly.
It's a second referendum, guys.
All this is a chance to vote against what you've already voted for. So all those people that wanted out of Europe, they're now watering it down. They're now tricked you to the point where you're going to now vote for a watered down version of Brexit. It's not a hard Brexit. It's not a no deal. It's not what it should have done. It's not what should have been done by law. I mean, me personally, I've said this for ages. After the 2-year period was up, no deal was agreed. Therefore, by law, by proxy, it's a default law. we're out. So I've been saying I'm out, and I'm out of the EU since then. Sorry, but I am. I'll go by the rule of law. That's why I will not be voting in general election. I will not be voting because that will make me complicit in their in their crimes, and I will not do that.
But unfortunately, two of us ain't going to stop it, Nathan.
Nope, that is true. It's very true. It's going to take the people to do this, like it always has.
I mean, all we're trying
and that's why they try and separate.
We're trying to give you the heads up.
Yeah,
we're trying to give you the heads up here, guys. We're trying to give you the heads up. If you can't see this is rigged against you, before they lost, they're going to make sure they don't lose this time. And that's why Nigel's come back with his Brexit party to help the Tories out so it can split the vote. So instead of having like two main parties, Conservatives and Labour going hammer and tongue, he's come in, giving it all the spiel, so people will say, well, oh, the Conservatives, I'm going to vote for them. And all it's going to do is split the vote. Then I'm going to have sort of, I don't know, 30%. The Tories will have 30%. And then Labour's going to end up with 40% and win it.
Basically, it's to divert people's attentions. It's to divert people's attentions.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer. It's like that ball game people see where you got the ball under the cups, the ball and cups. You're so concentrated on two cups that you think the ball's under, you don't realise it's under the ball's under the third cup, and it was all there all the way along. It's like that. There is something I do need to address though, because I've absolutely had insurmountable amount of people contact me about these videos that are being passed around, and certain people are publishing. I've been asked to look into the court case, well, not the court case, but sort of like the court paperwork. So I can officially say I've obtained a copy of the court order about the Hampstead case, about the propagating of videos. I must say it's not the nicest thing I've ever had to do. I mean, it's pretty much an appalling read, I will say that.
2 seconds before you start, mate. Kelly Ambrose, I've received my passport today and it's got United Kingdom on it. Well, it will have at the moment, because that's another ruse. It was done to give you the impression you're going to get your country back. But trust me, if Labour get in this general election, that won't stay on that passport. It'll be back to where it is now, because we won't be leaving anywhere. Sorry about that, knife. Carry on.
All Boris's deal, or May's deal, and the deals that are being put forward does is basically it allows the EU to basically have a plug. So at any one time, they pull that plug, and slowly the UK slowly dwindle down the plug hole into the EU, and they'll have that through certain bits, like through the fisheries and certain bits like that. Like I said, it will get to the point where they'll control certain bits to the point where we submit or we get overcome. This is the point of the deals they're making, is to make us subservient. Be very careful. But anyway, this is a bit serious. I mean, this is not exactly the nicest thing I've ever had to read, and I've read EU treaties, put it that way. It's actually quite an appalling read, and I didn't really relish this, but just to put clarity to this, I've agreed to do this.
Nathan,
there is indeed.
Nathan, make sure this is the Hampstead case, yeah?
Yep. This is the court paperwork for the Hampstead case, and the material that's being put out. I'm only going to read you a couple of paragraphs because I'm honestly, this is an absolutely appalling case. I didn't like reading it myself. I had to, because just to claim clarity, but there's only certain bits you need to understand really, and the bits I'm going to read out are going to be the ones that are involving people that are sharing the content, etc. Okay, so anything to do with it, so just stay away from it. Okay, as I said, I'm allowed to do this. I've agreed to do this. I will now read you some of the actual court order. Okay, and this is an approved court order. I can prove it. I can give you all the details as well, so you can prove it is the right one. I'm only going to read you a couple of sections of this, because this should give you a general idea. Basically, it just gets worse and worse. This is the nice bit. This judgment is being given in public and without anonymism, save as to the children's names. Okay? The subject children have been named repeatedly on the internet. Their photographs and film clips in which they feature have been published and republished widely. Filmed police interviews of the children have been uploaded onto publicly accessible websites. So, to intensely personal information relating to both children. As at 10th of March 2015, more than 14 million people worldwide had viewed online material relating to this case. It was back in 2015. It is inevitable, this is part 3, it is inevitable that a large population of those have a sexual interest in children, and any rational adult who uploads filmed clips to YouTube featuring children speaking about sexual activity must be assumed to realise that fact. So you must understand, if you upload this material, basically you're going to be classed as a paedophile. This is the reasons why in law you'll be on a register. Okay, last bit I'm going to read. I considered, but ultimately rejected the suggestion that the children's names should appear within a judgment. My priority is to protect them from further harm of whatever kind. Those who posted material identifying the children have done so with flagrant disregard for their welfare interests. I see no good reason for adding to the damage already done. Only those prurient or unhealthily curiosity will take steps to identify the children. My faith in humanity indicates that the overwhelming majority of individuals will do nothing because they, like me, have no interest in inflicting further harm. So in case you didn't get that, that's a judge quite categorically stating that if you're a normal adult and you have no intentions and you have no sexual orientations towards this case, you have no reason to find out any details about these children at all. Okay, it tells you there. Even a judge has admitted the names and stuff like that. So if you share any personal details of these children, if you share these images, if you even comment, do anything, you are now complicit of the crime. And this is a court order. I can assure you. I've just read from the court order. So this is my final word on it. If you do these actions, you are committing paedophilic actions, shall we say. Stop. Don't do it. Don't get caught out. That's the last I'm going to say on it, because I'm not being funny. I will say this rather upset me when I read this court order, because let alone the case, I've never had anything to do with the case. This court order alone is rather upsetting. So anyone who does it, in my book, you're a wrong one and you need to serve a bit of time in prison, personally. Enough said on that.
Jeremy, the answer to your question is yes, you are. If you vote in the general election while you are under lawful rebellion, you are breaking your oath because you're complicit.
You cannot be complicit in any of the crimes.
No. That's why everybody should get into lawful rebellion. It covers you, and then you don't vote at all. Because this is going to be the worst thing you can do. You're going to split the vote. But basically, I urge every single group out there to get yourselves organised, get yourself some actions ready, and let's get it done before the 12th of December. Because once that general election comes, this country's finished.
Yeah, that's it. We've got a very short time now.
Why do you think there's so many people resigning at the moment?
Yeah.
Because they all know what's coming, ladies and gentlemen. They all know what's coming. That's why they're all resigning. And I bet you any money now, if you could be a fly on the wall in the banking industry at the moment, the activity that's going on with money being drawn out and put into offshore accounts would be unbelievable. All you need is one whistleblower to blow the whistle on it all, and you'd see we are telling the truth.
Yep. It's as easy said as that. If you vote for them, it's a vote for whatever they do, you're pre-voting for. So basically, before they even do it, you've signed a piece of paper to say they've got your vote, they've got your sovereignty, and they can do whatever they like with it. Because you believe in them, and you believe you want them to act for you. Same as getting a solicitor or a barrister. None of them work for you.
Well, they ain't acting for me.
They're meant to, but none of them actually do.
But we'll be doing our own action, and we urge everybody else to get yourselves organised and do your own actions and get your people on the streets, because you've got till the 12th of December. Because once that general election, once them things go in that ballot box, that's finished. You've got to stop this election.
I will say one thing though.
If it was me,
For the police and for all the officials, I've got some very interesting paperwork for you lot.
yes. Yes, we have. And also, what you've got to realise is they've done it to us, guys. So what's stopping us, 17.4 million, when this election, whatever it is, if it doesn't go our way, to go to them?
And I can promise you, people, the power does lie with the people.
Yes.
Power does lie with the people. Just because they take an oath of office does not mean they're higher than you at all. It means they're actually
They
less.
ignored our democratic vote, so all we've got to do if we lose is ignore theirs.
Well, this is what people don't realise. If you voted this general election, you're saying, well, if them not abiding by the referendum and everything they've done, you complicit in, you agree with it. Yeah. That's the way you want democracy to be. So if you don't say no now, you'll never get another chance to say no. Yeah. Ever.
My way, when it comes through
general
the
elections, door, general elections are gone in 2 years if you're going to this country.
Yeah, in the bin. That's what you should be doing with your
remove yourself from the electoral roll. Remove yourself from the electoral roll so they cannot use your vote in your absence. There can not be an implied vote because of the way you voted before.
You'll soon see whether this is fixed or not. Phone up and say, I want to remove myself from the electoral register. They've got to do it. They can't not refuse you. But you watch the game you have. You watch the game you have to be taken off.
We've gone for this before in a couple of stages, because we've done this in a few stages over the course of the Dragons and that lot, and it does make an impact, believe it or not. And you always come up with this little game. They want you to jump through hoops because they don't want you off the electoral roll, because whether you vote or not, they will use your vote against you. It's what you call an implied vote, because you voted before, so they'll imply you're going to vote the same way. Or they're going to imply the fact that you're going to vote with the majority of the area. They're very crafty in what they do. Be very careful. That's why you've got to remove yourself from the electoral roll. Therefore, there is no vote for you. You've taken away your vote. Therefore, and if enough people do it, we'll get to the point where a general election can't happen anyway.
Yeah,
maybe.
But the thing is, you've only got to see how it's panning out. They're all actors. It's all being done deliberately. Like I said. Nigel Farage has been missing for 3 years now. All of a sudden, he's come on the scene and they've called a general election. Use your noddles, guys.
I mean, I'll say this to all the leaders, to all the people listening, speak to all the leaders of the groups you know and ask everybody, is everybody, do you feel it's Parliament versus the people? This is a question I want to know. Do the people feel that Parliament has put themselves against the people? Because if you do feel 100%. that, then you need to be out with us. You need to be doing something with us. Because by God, we're going to change this and we're going to use law to do it as well.
Yeah. But we need the people's backing. We've said it all along, guys, and we'll keep saying it. We need your backing. We can't do it alone.
Sovereignty is the key. We have to overwhelm their sovereignty. And the only way to do it is with the people.
Yeah. But it's going to be rigged, 100%. It's an election we can't win. So why would you want to take part in something you know you can't win, even if you try?
An election. Yeah, it's an election whether you stay in the EU a little bit or a lot, or fully. Either way, though, the treaties that we're bound by enter us into a full membership within the next 2 to 3 years anyway. So let's stall it long enough for people to forget, and then we'll be back in the EU. This is what this election does. Don't be fooled. Don't be tricked. Same with the EU election. The reason why we're here now, if we didn't vote in the EU election and said, no, we're out, our 2-year period and everything would have come into effect, we would not be in the EU no more. And I'm not registered to vote, and I didn't vote in that EU election. So therefore, I left after them 2 years. As a sovereign citizen, I left. The rest of you, I'm not sure, but I left. Same as with this general election. I am not voting because I am not going to be governed by them. And if I do not give them consent to govern me, they do not govern me. And I can make that damn clear to you all. They do not govern me because I never gave consent to be governed. So there is no implied contracts over me.
Basically, guys, we've got to say, not vote and say, we've already had a referendum. With no need for the general election. Just get on with it. Just get on with it and get us out.
Complete the referendum before a general election. Simple.
Yes. Get us out first. Because they're bricking it now and they want to pass the book. And the only way they're going to pass the book is with this general election. So the vote split, Labour get in, then he can come out on the steps as a loser, Boris. It's all your fault. The people, the electorate, it's all your fault. Because if you'd have voted for us, we'd have got your Brexit. But obviously you didn't, and now you've got a Labour government. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And remember where you watched it first.
We said this loads of times. It's whether people believe us. I mean, it takes everyone to get out there and start sort of telling people this, and don't take no for an answer, because we've got to compel everyone to do the right thing. It's our duty.
No, exactly.
Excuse me.
Just look at it. Like I said, think back to the beginning of this video and just think about it logically. Where we're at, why we're at it now. How come Nigel's come out the shadows and his Brexit party just in time for good old Boris to call a general election?
Oh, yeah.
So he can split the vote, so he can get the Conservatives off the hook, because what they're doing then, they're going to rely on our short memories like we always do. We're very forgiving in this country. And then after 5 years of Corbyn, you'll be chomping at the bit to vote them back in, even though they've screwed you over now. It's all about mind games. It's all about controlling your mind.
But you won't be able to, because when you vote in this election, because you've pre-agreed any party that gets in, you've agreed that whatever they do, so if they want to put us back in you, they do. You can't say no anymore.
No. You voted. You've took part.
They did not have a lawful or legal way to stop or go against a referendum. All they've been able to do is stall, to try and get us to somehow get frustrated to change our minds. And this is at the point where they're throwing at us to see if we've changed our mind. Are we that frustrated with Brexit that we're just going to go, oh, just take the bloody deal? No. Best thing to do is say, we're not playing a game, deliver Brexit.
Yeah.
But will people do it? Or will they run to the poll booth and go, oh no, I've got to vote, otherwise someone else might get in? Well, they're going to get in anyway. And I'm telling you now, it's not the people you want. But
Labour's going to get in.
Thing, what you don't realise,
what
people don't realise though is what we found out with EU elections. If you don't vote, you have a legal challenge. If you do vote, you don't.
Yes. But what you don't realise as well, by panicking and voting and splitting the vote, Labour's going to get in anyway. But if 17.4 million don't vote, you've still got the majority. So therefore, the election is null and void.
Yep.
Because not 50% of people have voted.
I think it has to be 50.
We know that's not going to happen. We're just trying to warn you before it happens. But you're all going to go and do it. We know you're going to go and do it. But just be aware that it'll be your own fault. No good whinging when you're stuck in Europe under a Labour government. Because that's what you're going to be doing by voting.
Well, I'm already looking into going to a micronation. Most people won't know what I was on about. Oh, I'm not even joking. I think it's about time we all did it.
Yeah. But...
And yes, you can do that by law.
There's an old saying, guys, you reap what you sow. And that's what we're going to be doing. If you all go to them booths and you split the vote.
This is why we have expressions like due diligence and let those who will be deceived be deceived. If you're not willing to do your due diligence and learn enough to make an informed decision, then you're bound to be tricked by your own negligence. Let those who will be deceived be deceived. If you're clever enough not to be deceived and to find out the information and the right information, then you can't be deceived. So therefore, anybody trying to trick you is breaking the law.
Andy, put that message up again, brother. I must have missed it. I've just seen your comments. You put it in, and I never answered it because I don't see it, brother. Put it up again, and I'll answer it. Yes, he did, right. One of the laws mentioned the Magna Carta when there was discussion about bailiffs.
Yep.
But instead of answering him, he said he stands down, etc., to the man's knowledge, the right honourable gentleman's knowledge on the Magna Carta, because he knew he'd got him by the short and careless.
Well, I think I haven't actually watched it, but I think if it's relating to the Magna Carta and it's relating to bailiffs and things like that, it's probably relating to the excessive way debts are being collected. You can't take a man's tools. So, for instance, like a plumber or electrician or a builder, if a bailiff comes along and takes your tools, he's stopping you from then earning the money to climb out of debt, which is unlawful. So that's what he's referring to. He's referring back to the unlawful acts upon any authority onto citizens, which we need more and more awareness of.
Oh, yeah, and he didn't answer him. He couldn't answer him because he said, I'll refer the gentleman, I think it was section 27 or 7 of the Magna Carta to do with this. And he said about the debt and everything. And he went, I bow down to the gentleman, right honourable, or concur with the right honourable gentleman's knowledge under the Magna Carta. And that was it. He gave in, basically, because he couldn't argue. Because if he'd have come back, he'd have just quoted to me.
Well, there's no higher law than the Constitution. So he couldn't have come back and rebutted anything because all he could have done was produce an inferior argument. This is the thing; it's an inferior argument. Anything other than a constitutional argument. Off the top of my head, it'd be either taking tools or something, or it will be of making the abolishment of making debt illegal, which is what we're actually getting to the point where we are in this country now. We're getting to the point where when you get into debt, you're actually becoming a criminal for being in debt, and we've actually got laws that protect us. But that's just off my memory. I haven't read the Magna Carta for quite a while.
So basically, guys, that's why I'll come on tonight, because I was fuming. Absolutely fuming. And the other thing I was going to talk about, what was on here, me and as you mentioned it earlier, it's in Russian. I'll put it on my wall after. All you got to do is get your translation on, click on it, and it'll say English. And just read it in English. It's absolutely disgusting. It's in Germany. The kindergartens in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
€200, they put you on a course. And within a week, you can go to be around children. And all these children have come forward about being touched inappropriately, blah, blah, blah. The mums and dads are going berserk. Because these kindergartens, it's all money-making racket, paedophiles going in the schools. Because it was done under a ruse of the going in with balls, etc., and different things, hula hoops, and they're learning the kids to play games. And then they're touching them inappropriately, etc., etc. You know the score, Nath. It's been all over the newspapers about this country. And it's happening on a big scale in Germany, in the kindergartens. But now it's all being shut down. But I'll put it on my wall. It's in Russian. But if you click on it, if you've got the translator on your phone, if you activate the translator, you should be able to read it in English. But it's disgusting when you read it. What they're getting away. And it's just big money making racket for 200. Like I say, that many people going on these €200 courses, and you ain't even got to put your real name. That's the thing. Because 2 reporters went and did the course under assumed names and got away with it. So they're not doing the checks what they should be.
See,
and that's going to come here. That's going to come to this country. It'll come to this country now.
Yeah. You just jog my memory on something on this. So carry on.
Yeah, so it's going to come to this country, guys. Because if they're getting away with it, it's going to end up here. But like I said, I will put it on my wall in a bit. And like I said, click on it and then do the translation. Or what I might do is I'll put the story there, then in the top where it says, what do you want to say about this video? I might translate it myself and stick it in the first bit. So the actual story will be on the top, but the headlines are in Russian anyway. But it's all about a kindergarten in Germany. Disgusting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is why I can't reiterate enough about movies. Like, don't get me wrong, I have nothing to do with the Hampstead case. Never have. Don't want to read it. I was no interest in it. It's not because I'm heartless, isn't it? It's just that's not the sort of thing that I would go and delve into. The only reason why I did deal with this, like I safely say, the only thing I have dealt with is the court order. That's the official court order. It's the only thing I've dealt with. And the only reason I've done that is because so many people have asked me, can I give an opinion on sharing of the material and what the law states and what it means? And I can safely say this as well. Not only is it a crime to do it, if you know of someone doing it, and you do nothing to stop them from doing it, or do nothing to report them from doing it, you're also actually complicit in the crime as well. This is something not to be touched. I can't actually reiterate this as much. Everything to do with Hampstead case and sharing material, if you are not careful and it is not done in a controlled and agreed manner, then that's it. You are, and I'm sorry, but it's true. By the judgment, it says that you will land up with a penalty, and that will be that you will be on the register. And as you heard from the judge's own mouth, it will be taken of the view that whoever shares that material will be doing it not of a normal person, but that of somebody sharing that material for sexual content. Been made quite clear by the judge. That will be Clarke. That will be the reasons you're tried for. It won't be a case of this or that. They will be saying no, because you have no good reason to do that unless you had some sexual interest in the case. So don't share it. Don't leave it down to the courts. Leave it down to the people involved. I know a lot of people want to get justice for these kids. If you want justice for these kids, let them have immunity. Let them get themselves together, their lives back together, and then let them get justice for themselves. Will be the best way. And then when they do, back them. But then while you're doing this to these children, it's illegal, it's unlawful, and it's got to stop. And we have a duty now to report any single person doing this.
Yeah. And as far as the country goes, this is happening next Sunday. There's mine. Do it for these guys. Do it for these. Fallen heroes.
I haven't got mine on. No. Yes, please.
Men, women, fathers, brothers, sons, daughters, aunties, uncles, sisters.
I do need to clarify something else, if I may, as well, about Remembrance Day. We've been talking, me and Gary and Kane Leatham have been talking a lot about Operation Victor. It's St. Kane and a few people are heading up to do with the Royal British Legion, the 5 homes within England. Excuse me, people, I'm not very well. All places have been filled now, and
I told them this the day night.
Yeah, but there's been a lot of talk of people just wanting to turn up at the venues to show support, and I'm sure, and Kane is, and I'm support all the team that are actually involved in it and doing it will be. That'll be great. It'll be thingy, but you can't. Okay, you can't just turn up to these things. There's security issues. These are elderly things. They're public and private areas. Plus insurance reasons. Kane had to notify who's going to be at which premises. So please, please, please do not turn up at these premises and try and get in, because all you're going to do is ruin the day and Kane and the team that are organising this are hoping this is going to carry on. And I, for one, think, and this is why I help promote it, I think it's going to be an amazing thing. I can't wait to see what happens on the day.
Yeah.
But please don't
Should
just
be
turn
really
up.
good.
If you haven't been in contact with Kane, if you haven't been booked in at one of the homes, you cannot enter the home. You cannot take part on this Monday. So you'll be looking for next year if they can get this to work next year. So, but next year, get your name down quick.
But like I said, think of these guys when you're thinking about your country as well. What they sacrificed for you to have the freedoms you're going to give away. It's not right, guys. And your kids, think of your kids, for God's sake, think of your kids.
That's not to have a rant, but it's been upsetting me recently, and I'm going to say something about Remembrance Day. I'm getting rather annoyed. Okay, stop politicising Remembrance Day. Stop using Remembrance Day to push your own agendas. It's nothing to do with, I would say, anyone living that hasn't served, really. This is about remembering the fallen, okay, the people that died, put their lives on the line, and this isn't anything to do with politics, and I'll tell you why, okay, is because you may be sitting there and you may want to try and do a diversionary system and go, oh, but it was all to do with the government and the politics of war. No, that's not what we're remembering here, people. So take the politics, screw it up and throw it in the bin. We don't care what the people in suits did. Let's talk about what the people in army gear did, okay? They strapped on them clothes, they put on their backpacks, they grabbed their rifles, and they went into war. Okay, that's actual war. Not the kind you think you run in the street with gangs, actual war. They went into war, and most of them died. And they gave that up, not because of what the politicians were doing, because they didn't even know, they didn't believe in that. They believed in saving people. They believed that their sacrifice would mean something and would save people back home. That's what we're remembering the brave actions of those people who selflessly gave their lives because they was doing it for the greater good, a true and just reason. Not what our politicians do, but the everyday man on the battlefield had it in his heart, his true and just actions that day. He didn't do it for gain. He didn't do it for selfishness. He did it to save the rest. So please remember that on Monday when it's time for the silence. And please remember that when you're thinking about politicising Remembrance Day or you're trying to hijack it in some way. Remember, this is not about you. This is about better men and better women and better animals than we'll ever be. So please remember
It's about doing the right thing to make sure their memory lives on. Not throw it all away.
Exactly.
And that's what we're going to be doing soon if we ain't careful.
Because I hate the expression lives lost, okay? No. Lives were sacrificed in the wars. They were sacrificed, and that should be remembered. That sacrifice should be remembered forever because it's the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah. And that's why they give their lives, so they'll always be remembered for what they did for us to
The country they
million
fought
years.
for.
And just, yeah.
And
just
the
before
country
we
they
go,
fought for. Can I just say one thing? The country they fought for, and I'll say this as well. Most of their men helped build the country when they came back. So it's not only the country they fought for, but the country they helped build. We're now going to give away to a foreign body to destroy.
Yeah.
How much of an insult is that?
And to enslave you. But before we go, I've seen an article today as well. The animal rights activists. How about this
Hello,
now?
Mark and Carla.
They was taking today, animal rights have been attacking blind people with the guide dogs, saying it's abuse of the animal, this, that, and the other. Why ain't they out there shouting about all the halal that's going on in the slaughterhouses?
Exactly. Because basically, in a nutshell, it boils down to this: some people can't be told, some people can. So why waste your breath on the people that can't be told and then go and attack the people that can? Because nobody who works in halal or does halal going to give a crap. They're doing it for their own reasons. So they're just going to tell you where
No,
to go.
but
But when
what
you've got a
annoyed me was,
blind man,
I was,
when you've got a blind man that relies on a dog, and or a woman, and they rely on a dog, and then you give them hassle, and you make or that they're doing wrong somehow because sorry,
yeah, you put the
somehow they're
dog under
damaging that dog.
stress.
No, no, exactly. That dog is. Most dogs are there as companions. Most dogs would do that.
And don't forget, they're only guide dogs when they're out in the street. While they're in the house, they're a normal pet.
Yeah,
Majority of them, unless they are completely dependent, but then they're
I
just
mean,
short-sighted and just need them to guide them along the street. They're just a normal pet in the house. They don't even put the
exactly,
harness on till they go out.
exactly. They're not being funny. I can't, for the life of me, in my whole short but colourful life, ever remember seeing a mistreated guide dog.
Yeah. Oh, I hope your uncle's better soon, right? Horrible. When they're elderly in the fall, it's disgusting.
Yeah, yeah,
It shakes them up, you know. But I hope he's better soon, brother.
yeah.
But
Give my
yeah,
best.
so that's our advice, guys. Wake up to what's going on and look into it yourselves.
Remember, if you stick by the
Just
rule of the law,
use your common
the law will
sense.
protect you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use your common sense and just look into what of the events that have just happened, and you can see it's a mile off. It's been set up.
Yeah.
It's a second referendum under the guise of a general election, but this time there ain't going to be one vote and two votes. They're going to split it. So you're going to have two people voting for Brexit and only one lot voting for Remain. And
Like
you
I said,
can't see it.
I will not be voting this election, and I will, if I have to, I'll bring a legal challenge because I did not consent.
Yeah. Well, we're doing the paperwork on ours, Knife.
Yep.
So that'll be ready soon. So we'll be going to do something. And all I'm saying to all the other groups out there, just get yourselves all organised, guys, and do your own actions. And just let's stop this election because it's
It'd be nice.
unlawful.
It'd be nice if the other groups contacted us and would help. I'm not being funny. All your groups do your own thing, your own right. We just want a coordinated effort. So there's no need for like leaders and things like that. We've all got our own groups. We all know what we're doing. We just need to coordinate our efforts. That's it. So there's no need for egos in this one.
No. You know, and just see what they're doing to you. They shouldn't even be having a general election. You've not left.
No.
It's just to reverse it. It's just to reverse Brexit, this is.
It's a
And you
trick of
can't
law.
see it.
It's a trick of law. They're getting you to have a second referendum in a certain way because a general election will override the referendum result.
Yeah, but all they can turn around and say, no, it wasn't a second referendum. It was a general election. But we all know what it was really.
Exactly. But you voted for a party, and when you voted for Labour, you voted to go back into the EU. So there you go. Tough luck. That's what they'll say. Yeah. But what I've got to say to this is personally, what about the Constitution? What about the Constitution says? I mean, me personally, I know what it says. What about their constitutional duties and liabilities? Because it won't be forgotten.
Like I said, we should be saying, no, we're not having another general election. Get on with it. Get us out of Brexit, and then we'll think about having a general election. Until that's done, you haven't done the first part of it yet, where you've adhered to the democratic vote. When you adhere to the democratic vote and we've left, then we'll adhere to your general election. Until then, get stuffed. That's what we should be saying.
Yep, deal with that. Let's see how competent you are, because if they ain't competent, and I'm not being funny, this is a reason enough not to vote anyway. If they're not competent enough to deal with, basically give us a referendum and deal with it, they're not going to be competent enough afterwards, are they? They've bungled it for 3.5 years. I know on purpose, but they haven't exactly give faith to it. This is why I always say, a lot of people say, but we haven't really got a government, they're not working. But we have got a government. That's the problem. in all legality and lawality, we have a government. They are working. It's just they're not working in our best interests, 100% interest.
They're working
So it's not
against
a case
you.
of, exactly. So it's not a case of we haven't got a working government and they're not governing us. It's a case of our government are actually tyrannous and are actually creating crimes against us. That's what we need to be looking at this as, and that's how we need to fight it. We need to fight the crimes, not the bullshit. And it's the general elections and all this crap that's the bullshit, because they don't want you focusing on bringing them to justice, which you can do as the people.
And exactly what you're doing, instead of bringing them to justice for the crimes, you're aiding and abetting the crime by keep voting and doing what they want. Stop doing what they want and do what you want. If you want Brexit, let's get Brexit. Tell them to stick the general election up their ass.
See, there's one thing that most people are not going to realise they don't do, but when you actually realise it, it's a big wake-up call. You're going to have to start being responsible for yourselves.
Yeah.
You've got to make a decision
anyway,
and stand by it.
Yeah. I only wanted to come on and have that bit of a put that record straight now and get it out there so people go thinking about it.
Tell the truth, I feel like death door, but I had to address the Victor thing, because we can't have people turning up. That's it. It's done now. It's closed. It's closed. That's it. You have to wait for next year. And I've had so many people contact me about this court case and this court order that I just need to get that out of the way. So there you go. There is my opinion on the court order after reading it.
This is your answer. Knife's got the same clock. This is your answer. Get in it. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it, guys.
And
you can't lose your benefit. You cannot lose benefit or anything like that. They cannot sanction you.
This is where we're trying to explain to you. You need to know your rights to enact them. Nobody can discriminate you in any kind of way for taking the oath. In any kind of way, or the actions you do within that oath, as long as they are within the law. Nobody can discriminate you against you. You're protected by law. And this is why we keep saying it, because people seem to think that going to lawful bed, you sign the forms, you send them off, boom, magic remedy. No, that's not it at all. What we're trying to tell you is there is going to be a big fight. And I'm not saying physical, but there's going to be a big fight for the power of this country. So what we're getting you to do is we're getting you to put the armour on now. The armour you have at the moment is lawful rebellion, because if you do it right, it gives you what you call lawful excuse. It means you have a lawful excuse to act upon it. So therefore, you've already...
Exactly.
The tools and everything you use, with that is a constitution, common law, and other bits.
Yeah. And as long as you act...
I think I'm going to get voted in a minute.
And as long as you act lawfully, and you remain in honour, and you're non-violent, you can do it, guys. And they can't. Like I said, it doesn't affect benefits or anything else like that, because they can't do that here. That's discrimination. They cannot discriminate you for being in rebellion.
It is both illegal and unlawful to discriminate against anybody in lawful rebellion.
Yeah. So there you have it. So
that's why we say lawful rebellion. Look, Article 61, lawful rebellion, we're using it because that's its nickname. And I just want to make that clear. It's its nickname.
Yeah. So
you can call it Article 61, the security clause, whatever you like, but colloquially its nickname is lawful rebellion.
Yeah. So get in lawful rebellion, take it out. Let's get this country back. Let's tell them to stick this general election up their ass. It's a second referendum and we're not having one. When we're out of Europe, then when they've done the job properly, what they've been put there to do, instead of trying to shirk responsibility and reverse the vote. No, sort that out first, and then we'll have the general election after.
It's time for the people to stand, and we're going to make a stand.
Yeah.
Are people ready? That's the point. Are people ready?
We've got to be ready. You've got no choice, because come the 12th, I keep telling you it's a minute to midnight. It's almost 30 seconds to midnight. Because come the 12th of December, then chimes are going to go off if you ain't careful.
Yep.
But you can stop it. We can do it. But it's going to need everybody to tell them.
I suppose we need to get words for that. But I'm going to jump off because I really don't feel well now.
Anyway, no. I'll speak to you soon. Here's my hand, here's my heart, guys. Love every single one of you. And me and Nath will be back soon later in the week when he's a bit better.
Yes, thank you for tuning in, and I'll speak to you soon.
But please don't take our word for it. Just think about it logical. Look what's going on around you. Look what's going on. It's there. It's all in front of you in plain sight. And
don't complicate things when they don't need to be. Yeah.
No. Just look at what's going on. Put the pieces of the puzzle together, and it makes sense. Anyway, Nate, I'll see you later, son. I'll see all you later, guys. Have a great week at work, and I'll speak to you all soon. I'll speak to you later, Nate, on the phone. See you later, bye. See you guys, bye.